Hello and welcome to the Videozone. I'm Charles Band, and under this cover is our newest puppet, Tank, from our next release, Puppet Master 6. We finally brought the puppets back for a new adventure, and this latest puppet will certainly live up to his name, as you'll see. I hope you all enjoyed Shrieker. It was a little bit of a departure for us as we wanted to make a more traditional horror film. Coming next from Full Moon is Puppet Master 6, as I said earlier, soon followed by Blood Dolls, which takes our love of killer dolls in a very new, very strange direction. Soon after Blood Dolls will be Subspecies 4 and Bride of the Head of the Family, and a whole slew of bizarre pictures to make 1998 really unusual. Another project I wanted to talk about is our line of action figures. Our first two releases of Blade and Six Shooter from the Puppet Master series have almost completely sold out thanks to you fans. Coming out very soon will be our second release of Tunneler and the Evil Totem. And if you like Blade and Six Shooter, then you won't want to miss these very cool additions. Right after Tunneler and Totem, we have Pinhead and Leechwoman, followed by our first 12-inch release, which is Decapitron, as well as Radu from the Subspecies series. Decapitron will have 4 separate heads, including an Andre Toulon head, and Radu will come with several bendable subspecies. As you can see, we have a very busy year ahead of us, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next edition of the Videozone.
Full Moon invites you to spend a night in their hospital of horrors as they release their newest patient. A double-headed dose of terror known as Shrieker. Joining you during your stay is a cast of characters who donated their talents as well as their body parts.
Well, I got the script on, I think, Saturday. I had my final callback on Thursday, picked up the script on Saturday, and I believe we started shooting on Tuesday, so I had just a few days to read over it and figure out all about this character. And actually when I was reading it, towards the end of the script, I was turning the pages, and it was pretty intense, and I mean, I thought the whole idea with the fourth dimension and how they put that out was pretty interesting. It wasn't just some horror flick that really didn't make sense.
I liked that every time it seemed like it was going to go really cliche, it didn't. I've always wanted to do a horror film, you know, and one of the things that probably held me back was like, oh, it just gets so cliche, like, don't go in there, no, he's got the knife, you know, but it never really went there. It would get you a little later, and I really enjoyed that.
Reading the script, I mean, it was pretty creepy, just, you know, what the whole movie is about, just the whole concept of, you know, having a two-headed monster. But definitely, just when I read it, you know, I felt real connected to it. Like, you know, it's just real creepy, and I don't know, something for some reason or another I could just like relate to.
Did anyone ever tell you about the Shrieker? Someone has been messing around with some arcane stuff, which normally wouldn't matter because 99% of the occult is bullshit, and none of the people studying it are smart enough to recognize, never mind figure out the 1% that isn't. Somebody in this place has stumbled onto something.
This movie was great in the fact that I got to do everything that I've ever wanted to do on a film, and that was to run around, chase a guy with a gun, and die. So I got to, you know. So when I was having the time of my life, you know, just with a gun, searching for the guy, for the monster.
I've always wanted to do something where I run and scream, and you know, that was a lot of fun. Good exercise.
Everyone loves to be scared for some reason. I don't know why, but we all do. We all like to not know what's going to happen next. We all like to feel that we're on the good side and that something else is the bad side, and that it's going to get you if you don't, you know, if you don't watch out or if you're not careful. And then you like to root for the characters. No, go that way, don't turn that way. He's behind you. Something is in the room.
What? What's happening?
I don't know. It's just classic in horror films to see a girl with a flashlight and everything's scary and who's there? I mean, it seems like that's what they always say. So I think that we tried to make it a little more realistic.
The sets were really creepy, and so it wasn't hard to create a time and place. You know, because like when I was at the studios there, like you could just feel like the quality of creepiness that was just like lurking around you. You know what I mean? I felt like, oh well, I don't have to use my imagination too much in this place.
And there was a lot of dark spots in there, a lot of scary spots. So I went off on my own, especially in the middle of the night. We're talking 2, 3 in the morning, all by yourself, while everybody is off shooting. And I would just go off there, and I would just, in my head, take myself to places I've never been in before. Just imagine the evil of the evil, you know?
I know for myself what I tried to do with the character is just put myself in the situation and how I would act, and I wouldn't be running around screaming all the time. I would be more interested in figuring out what's going on and making the best decision to leave or stay or whatever. So I think, yeah, I like the way the character was portrayed.
You said you're gonna go when?
No, I changed my mind. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to find out what's going on here. Unless you plan on kicking me out.
No, he isn't.
Zach's that guy you knew in college who was just really cool and really fun and not a lot of worries and didn't appear to think too much either. And that's where he starts out, I think. But then as things occur and problems arise, he has to kind of step forward and be present for a change and really take charge of his life.
All right, guys, look. If we let this turn into open warfare, everything we've got going here is just gonna go up in smoke.
How ironically apt an analogy. I'm telling you guys, somebody isn't what they seem. I think in each character you find something of yourself in somebody because to relate. And I've been that way when I was in college or in high school when I was really hitting the books and I was real anal about stuff. And when we do projects and stuff, I wouldn't want anybody doing stuff because they wouldn't do it the right way. So I would just be a real tight ass.
Well, in case you're wondering, these are symbols of power, of protection.
Christ, why are you doing this?
Why am I doing this? You wouldn't understand.
The character itself was very unlike me because I'm not a quiet person at all, if you get to know me, especially after a couple of drinks. It was very hard because she was very quiet throughout the whole thing. And very much that pre-med student, you know. But towards the end, she definitely unleashed, and that was the fun part for me.
All sorts of complications, but it's almost over.
I think in any movie that you watch, the villain is always the most fascinating to watch. I guess it's maybe because maybe deep inside of all of us, we all kind of want to break out and be the bad guy, and see what you can get away with. And obviously in movies, you get to be that way or portray that.
Full Moon's diabolical doctors also hired Mark Williams, a specialist in creature effects, to inject the right look for the Shrieker.
Well, when I first read the script, it was kind of a little ambiguous as what the creature looked like. We knew he had 2 heads. We weren't quite sure what. We know that there was a one head that shrieked, hence the name Shrieker, and one that kind of was just kind of the controlling body. They controlled the body of the creature. So I was pretty much given kind of free reign to do what I wanted, and I came up with this guy here and this guy. It was just kind of, it just came to me. I figured, this character is kind of like this demon from another dimension. That's kind of what we're told in the script with his little sidekick. And I remember when I first designed it, I actually made the heads a little more similar size. It was almost like a 2-headed creature. And Charlie kept saying, well, make the head smaller, make it smaller. So I kept making it smaller and smaller, and finally we ended up with this little guy here. Well, I guess is the brains of the operation.
I did not think that they were going to have an actual person that looked so much like a real monster. I can actually, by looking in the camera, I see the reflection of his head in the back, and I'm getting scared as well. But then, I've always had this thing for, I could watch scary movies, but I could never really watch those movies with things like that in it. You know, like Scream, okay, Halloween, all these things. You know, the guy killing people, fine, but the monsters, they just get to me.
Actually, there's two different masks for this guy here. One of them is a stunt mask, which is if we're running through scenes where we don't need lots of facial movement. And that was basically just kind of a slip-on-the-head rubber mask. And then there's this guy here, which is actually a mechanical head. We use this one for close-ups of the, like when we have the mouth open here, or the eyes moving, and or the little head moving around. I'd say we had, like, one point we had 3 people operating it. For the larger head, we would have one person operating the jaws, and that was a cable mechanism to make the jaws open and close. And then another person was operating the eyes to make the eyes move around. I would operate the little head because he's the one who he actually does the shrieking, and he requires more of the subtle manipulations.
I created that his father had been studying the Shrieker and the mystery of the Shrieker, and this was stuff that was passed down on to my character. And it was almost like my father worked on it to fulfill this for his whole life. You know, it was his purpose. And he never was able to capture the Shrieker. So then it became a part of my life to have to fulfill this need to, you know, to get control of this creature. And, you know, just, it's the whole, you know, wanting the power, you know. The power of if you have this like really bizarre creature in your possession, I mean, you can do anything. I mean, you can kick anybody's ass.
Unfortunately for the cast, the diagnosis was fatal.
Horror movies was the genre that I sort of got interested in movies from, like since I was like 12 or 13 or whatever. That's when I got the real interest in the creation of movies is through the special effects and through the, like, you know, the more the fantasy, the horror, the sculptures and stuff like that is what got me into movies.
It was weird because, you know, I had this pretty makeup done by this makeup artist, and I looked all, you know, made up, and all of a sudden puts these 3 streaks of blood on me. And I looked in the mirror. I still have a Polaroid. I came home and I showed my mom. She was like, "Put that away," because it looks so real. As I said, you put that blood on you, and they were so good, and the blood is disgusting, by the way. Never eat blood. Well, the fake blood.
For me, that was probably the most difficult part of the movie for me, because I had to really believe and be afraid that there was something in the room. And it was just me standing on the phone there with a bunch of, you know, grips and the cameraman and a bunch of people standing around, and it became real for me. You know, we were in this, you know, the warehouse, and there was nothing around, and there was all this stuff around, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to be afraid at that moment. And I did, and I was.
The way it was shot, Chris was killed first, and he was all done up in the makeup and blood, and he got Polaroids. Everyone got Polaroids of their blood scenes to take home, and I was like, oh, cool. And I was going to be the last one shot to die, and I was like, oh, they're just saving the best for last, you know. And then all you do is just see me in my shadow going, ah! And I was like, man, this sucks.
Unfortunately, I die at the end of the movie, but of course in horror films that doesn't necessarily matter. But when we were shooting the last scene, I actually got up from when I was dead. I got up and I like started running around while they weren't looking, and I was just kind of laughing about that, because I was like, well, come on, you know, there's got to be a sequel, you know what I mean? Just let my character live, because I want to be in the next one.
We figured maybe I can have like a twin or something like that. That's the opposite of me, who's this real meek guy maybe. And then, you know, he's trying to, you know, my last whereabouts were at this hospital and conjure the Shrieker. And yeah, we were thinking that it should end. This movie should end with when they're walking away, you hear a shriek. just leave it open a bit.
Well, Shrieker 2. Well, We were joking about on set of just adding another head. You know, each sequel he gets another head, so that we'll have a little third one out here, and then we'll just keep building them out as we go. I'm not sure. Obviously, if we do a sequel to it, which I'm hoping we do, I'll get to build. I'll have more time and just rebuild the mask and maybe make it look a little different. Maybe it'll be a different type of Shrieker. Maybe the creatures from this dimension. There's different types. And that would be kind of fun, getting to build something a little different. That's one of the reasons I enjoy working for Full Moon Amazing Fantasy, is because each film and each project is a little different. You get to do something new. So I'm hoping that on Shrieker 2, we're going to get to have, hopefully we'll have a whole bunch of Shriekers. That would be a really cool idea.
Shrieker, the perfect prescription for a terminal case of terror from Full Moon. In a hidden laboratory, a scientist gone mad has created a way to bring our oldest fears to life. You know their names. You know their faces. But you've never seen them like this.
If memory serves, I was significantly larger.
You see, we need a girl to bring you all up to normal size.
We four shall find this girl, we nightmares, made flesh, shall walk the night again.
The creeps.
What the hell is this?
It's just one of them things.
At the Pony Valley Sewage Treatment Facility, strange things are surfacing.
Honey, I gotta tell you, when I first looked into those two pairs of baby blues peeking out at me from that bottle of denatured alcohol, I thought of you.
Open the box.
It's not human.
She's sneaking behind my back with that gauche, undiscriminating collector of medical garbage, Napoleon Lazar.
I say, if you can't beat him, join him.
It's not an animal.
Don't move, little froggy!
You hold! I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Come back!
In fact, it's like nothing you've ever seen before.
You two want to be left alone?
I think we do.
So what do we do now?
Simple. All four of us take a little ride over to Lorcas and get back your goober.
It's hideous.
No one is leaving here until my specimens are returned. It's alive!
Deformed.
I want my specimen back!
Devious. Depraved. Hideous.
I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is not normal.
In Andre Toulon's haunted attic, two of the Puppet Master's most fiendish creations have broken free in sizes that will startle you. Full Moon Toys proudly introduces a shocking new line of action figures with blade and six-shooter. Now you pull the strings of the two biggest stars from the Smash Puppet Master video series. Strike a pose and help Blade do battle with a hand that switches from stiletto to hatchet. And eyes that light up the night. Six-shooter will always be on target when you aim his 6 arms, each one packing a chrome pistol. Then, on the rampage soon from Full Moon Toys, are the Totem and Tunneler, Blade, and Six-Shooter. The new Puppet Master action figures are attacking your toy and specialty stores now. For more information, check out the Full Moon Toys website at fullmoontoys.com.
For more information about our films, and to be added to our mailing list, write to Full Moon Pictures, 8721 Santa Monica Boulevard, number 526, West Hollywood, California, 90069. Or visit us at our website at fullmoonpictures.com.